And we're back live. Not all lights, I don't know. Did Maarten push all the buttons or what?
We've got one red light.
One red
we are
light.
live.
Come on.
We are here with
and now
the
we're
legendary
live. Now we're live.
Alex Thissen.
Hi.
How are you?
Alex.
I'm doing fine. How are you?
We're doing fine as well. So we tricked you into stepping in front of our camera.
I fell for it.
You fell for it. Can you tell a little bit what you did on this Techorama this year?
Okay. Well, this year, like last year, I had loads of fun. So for starters,
fun is good.
For starters, that's definitely good.
Yeah. And I did 2 sessions.
I have to put the microphone a little bit closer to you. Yeah.
And I'll try to speak as loud as possible. Okay. But I did 2 sessions this year. One was yesterday. It was on a dependency injection system in .NET Core.
Yes.
And today I had a session on health monitoring again, as it's provided in .NET Core, but more general in what would you do with health monitoring and how would you put it to good use.
I saw that title because when I read the agenda, I thought like, Alex Thissen, I don't feel so good. Health is like, oh, is he sick?
Yeah.
Was it a good session? Was it a good turnaround?
There was an almost full room. People were interested. People were enthusiastic about the ideas of health monitoring. So I think that was good. It's a new interesting topic, especially since it has many applications in distributed scenarios, microservice architectures, hosting in environments that has a lot of distribution, like cluster orchestrators, such as Kubernetes. Yeah. So there's a lot to be said about the health monitoring. And adding that capability to your application really adds value to being cloud native or being able to host in a highly distributed, resilient system.
And to be aware of how your system is performing as well.
Yes, that's usually if you start doing DevOps.
Yeah.
The operation side makes it necessary that you really need to know how your system is doing ahead of time, instead of customers calling you and saying the system is down.
Yeah, definitely.
You want to know when those things start happening.
Yeah.
So health checks can have green, red, and orange, right? So as I understand it.
Yes.
So what is the difference between degraded and failed?
Oh, okay, yeah. So the normal ones, the green and the red, are I'm healthy, I'm unhealthy. The unhealthy is obviously not good and you need to take some action. But the one in the middle is called degraded, and that's usually a sign that I'm not performing as well as I could. I'm having trouble, I'm experiencing a lot of load. So say for example you have a background worker service that picks off messages from a queue. Yep. If it starts seeing the queue grow, yep, then it might be an indication that I can't keep up, then something needs to be done. So I'm degraded at the moment, I might fail in the future. So it's a forewarning of things that might happen.
Then you're in time to take action before it falls apart.
You can do early alerting, so somebody that knows what the system is, how it should behave, can start looking into matters and say, okay, so why is it saying it degraded? And maybe you can see, it can't keep up, so maybe I should start a scaling of this pod into multiple pods, whatever it takes. That is a countermeasure for the indication that you find.
Nice, very nice, yeah, definitely.
And dependency injection, you also did one on dependency injection. With all the new features out in .NET Core 3, can you share some of them here?
Okay, yeah.
For dependency injection only, not
There's a lot more to talk about.
There's a lot of things, but I think the dependency injection part is pretty stable. It's from 2.2 up to 3.0, so not that many new things. One of the things that's a nice little extra is, if you do dependency injection, one of the key features is that the dependency injection system, the container that constructs objects, knows about lifetimes. Singleton, transient, which means a new object every time, or scoped to, for example, a web request. So those 3 lifetimes, you need to construct that in a good way, because there might be some gotchas. Say, for example, you have a background worker service, like we discussed, but it's a singleton, and if you have stuff injected like a DB context, which is a unit of work for your database. It only gets injected once. So it's not what you want, because you would want a new one for each and every task that you're executing. So you have a different notion of a scope. But the fact that you're injecting a scoped object for your database work into a singleton worker service gives you problems that you won't find out until runtime.
Exactly.
And even there, you'll probably find it because you notice that there's a memory leak. Because you don't get a new object for every task, you just keep reusing a new one, and all the accumulated work starts
backing up.
So the feature is more like validating on startup, and that's very, very, very helpful.
And the new feature in 3.0, which is one of the small things, is that it does support validation of scopes. So the dependency injection system will notify you of you're putting a scoped service inside of a singleton, you're not allowed to do that.
Nice.
But by default, it only does so in the development environment. So if you go to production and you have a dynamic setup and dynamic lifetimes, you could actually end up not knowing in production that you're doing the bad stuff. But there is this new thing that you can say validate on build and put that to true instead of false. That's 3.0. And then it will do, as soon as it starts up and builds the service provider that will do all the dependency injection, then it will actually already tell you this is violating one of my rules, a circular reference or wrong lifetime scopes. It will do that regardless of environment on the moment that the service provider is being built.
And how easy it is for a developer to write their own rules, in a sense, for this kind of thing. I suppose it's kind of extensible, right? So you can maybe...
As far as I know, it's not extensible. It's a built-in set of rules in the default service provider. Didn't look into it. It might be extendable, but it's there in the Microsoft implementation, and any of the other dependency injection systems like AutoFac, Castle Windsor, Ninject, Simple Injector, Light Inject, pick your poison. You can actually replace the one by Microsoft, and depending on what features your favorite dependency injection framework has, it might have similar features such as validation, or maybe other things that are lacking at the moment in the Microsoft implementation, like child containers or interceptors, decorators. Some things are missing, but I've not found that to be a showstopper for using the one that's provided by Microsoft.
Very nice. And what is the one key thing you want your audience to have learned in your earlier session?
So the earlier session was the dependency injection one. I would say that make a conscious decision whether you should use the one by Microsoft versus picking another one, because it can be opinionated. I think that by default the one that is there out of the box is good enough. There might be reasons to switch, but regardless of that, make sure you know the intrinsics of your dependency injection container and know about the rules that apply, like you can't put scoped into singleton. Know those rules, because that's where you get yourself a stable system.
Very nice, very nice.
And the other one for health monitoring, I would say start using it if you want to build distributed systems that are resilient and follow cloud patterns. Then it's a matter of don't wait, put that in. It's like a cross-cutting concern. It's additional endpoints in your web API or web application, so you enable the environment around you, like your Kubernetes cluster, to actually know when your system is ready to receive traffic, when it's lively, so it's still doing okay. And that's what the orchestrators need to know if they're coordinating work in the cluster. That one is not doing well, let me remove it and replace it with a new one. Are you ready to accept incoming traffic? No? Okay, I'll wait. Yes? I'll put you in the load balancer and start giving you traffic. So it's playing nice with the environment. Should do it sooner than later.
Nice. I also saw that the community is also started to build on top of this health check thing. Like our folks at BeatPulse has just created a dashboard UI and also some helpers for it, which is quite cool. They've now recently launched because the previous version for the dashboard was just one vanilla dashboard, but now they've launched an update so you can actually white label your dashboards and actually make it
UI customization and branding.
That's pretty cool.
Very nice, definitely.
And the Xaberil libraries, they give you this huge library of all these health checks for Kafka Azure Service Bus, your SQL Server, MongoDB databases, whatever.
You can even publish the application insights. I saw throughout, which is quite valuable, because if you really have a thing running, it just works.
And you can do it to Prometheus, to Datadog, to SEC. So they have 4 now instead of the 2 that they started with. And it's wonderful that you can do like query on demand your health, but also push out metrics that contain your health status.
Nice.
And I showed it in the demos, all of the things that you mentioned. So I did it in containers, I did rolling updates in a Kubernetes cluster, the UI from Zabaril with some of the health checks that they provide. And it's all on GitHub.
Nice.
GitHub.com/Alex Thissen, my name, and you'll find the health monitoring there, and all the sample code is there. You should be able to clone it, press F5 in Visual Studio, and it will just spin that up automatically.
If it does not run, log an issue, right? Find you on the internet and hunt you down.
Request to contribute.
Do a full
help them out.
So I've last seen you at what was it, the Riga Dev Days last year, right?
Yes.
What was happening since, in your case, in the community world? Have you been to other events? What other events are you going to be attending?
A lot of events. I follow you on Twitter. He's all around the world.
Well, there's a number of conferences that I like to go to. Some of them I help out organizing as a member of the program committee. What has been happening since? Well, I've been to a few other conferences, but I've also been working at customers to get some real life experience and scenarios. Just to know, the theory is one, but putting it into practice is 2.
Yeah.
And theory is always clean and nice, and in reality, it's much uglier. So how do you go about using the stuff that you talk about and putting it back into the new versions of presentations, finding new things that are happening, upgrading to .NET Core 3.0, which has small changes in places. And that's what's been happening since Riga, since early summer.
Okay, and without confining which customer it is, but what was the most troubling you found at a customer?
Oh wow. Most troubling I found at a customer.
And you were able to help them out, of course, but when you first came in, what was the most troubling you found out with a customer?
Okay.
What was wrong? Yeah.
Yes. What I think that one of the customers that I currently work for is I started helping out in a project that was supposed to go to the cloud.
Yeah.
And what I found was that they were building a fairly monolithic application, which is okay, because that's how you can start. But it wasn't designed with cloud in mind. So it had a lot of things like file shares for placing files. It assumed that everything that was imported should be put into a database. But they only needed to import it, and they were using it from memory, so there was no real use putting it in a database and immediately reading it back again. No query capabilities, just storing it there, getting it out again.
Yeah.
But in a cloud scenario, we'd probably use something like blob storage to get all the imported data, put it as a binary blob somewhere, and store it that way, but import it, use it straight away. And you can do that very fast, whereas the database work was very slow and time consuming from a user perspective. So what we've done there is...
When you keep it in mind at the start of a project, it's probably a lot easier to build in as well.
Yes. So that's why you should design with the end in mind. What is the ultimate goal? And then try to steer towards that place as directly as possible and not into other directions, because it needs a lot of correction to get there anyway. So was it disturbing? No. It's, I think, pretty common that this happens. But it was like a change of mindset. Okay, we need to be prepared for the cloud even though we're not going there. But now, 2 months down the road, we actually do want to go into a cloud-based scenario. So what we think might happen in the end is actually already happening.
Nice.
Cloud adoption is on your doorstep, or you're doing it already.
Very nice, very nice. Well, I'm all out of questions. Have you got something?
Should we ask him a question about the source?
But no.
No?
No.
Am I too soon?
A little bit, perhaps.
We had an earlier discussion about barbecue and sauce and stuff. Just little off topic, just to make things fun. But in any case, thank you very much.
Well, you were there as well, weren't you? Where do you think C# is coming from? Is it C# or C#?
C#. Well, there's a couple of theories of where it came from. One of them is the plus signs.
Yeah.
So plus and then plus underneath that is the like.
That makes a hash. Yeah.
Then you have the C#, as in the sharp, the mol in Dutch. I believe that's the quarter of a note higher than the C note. So that's another theory. And I think it just sounded cool.
Yeah, I agree.
That's always a good reason, because if the marketing guys think it's okay, they're bad at version numbers, but they sometimes do know what is a cool name.
But F#, where does F# come from then? This is like F++?
Yes, that's probably...
Don't go there, don't go there.
I'll let myself out.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for your time. And
you're welcome.
Have a wonderful conference the rest of the day.
Yes, and you too, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Thanks.